San Francisco's massive population decline is something pretty serious. This is something that you don't see in many cities in the US. Now, people talk a lot of smack about New York City. People talk a lot of things about Seattle, but even those cities in certain neighborhoods have a population increase. This is why places like Manhattan, real estate prices are still going up. Why is that? It's because there's a massive inflow of people. So here it is, San Francisco ranks, it's going down, right? It used to be San Francisco population increase. They're making 3,000 condos and apartments every single year. Now they're making less than 500. Look at this. Paradise, Nevada. If you look at this, the drop of 22% in the past 5 years. Now the overall population of this area really isn't that big. It's 183,000 people, making it like a small suburban town. The reason why it dropped so much was it was like a pandemic boom town. So during the pandemic, everyone moved here, and then post-pandemic, everyone left. And then you have really big examples like San Francisco, California. I understand with Detroit, there's a massive population decrease and they're still going down. But what's really shocking is our biggest tech city is having a 8.6 reduction in population. As of 2022, the city housed a little over 800,000 people. In fact, San Francisco was on track to hit 900,000 and even 1 million people, and they were preparing to build some of the biggest structures. Like, for example, if you go to San Francisco and check out Hayes Point, this was supposed to be like a 47-story massive skyscraper. They even bulldozed this massive plot for this project. But guess what happened to the project? It's completely abandoned. The banks essentially took back the land, and not to mention most investors bailed out with all their cash. An 8.6% reduction is not something to laugh about. And to this day in 2023, people says that probably a 10 to 12% decline in population from the peak of just a few years ago to now, meaning 1 in 10 people left San Francisco, and not to mention most of the people who left were making massive salaries, 6 figures and above, some even 7 figures. Billionaires and centimillionaires all left and pretty much took away a lot of the wealth of the city. This is why when you check out San Francisco real estate, the most expensive properties are easily dwarfed by B-ranked cities here in the US. And if you look at the new construction properties, a city of this caliber only having a few new construction communities like these shows you that construction is basically dead. Check out some of the most expensive homes in San Francisco. They're surprisingly low price. Like the most expensive in the whole city is only $32 million. And it's been on the market for almost a year. And they're not going to sell it for 32. Most likely sell it for maybe 20 or $22 million. And the thing is, there's not really that many millionaires who's willing to buy. And then you go to like places like Miami, for example, and you check out their most expensive properties, it's like a huge difference, right? Check out Miami. Their most expensive ones are easily well over $50 million. New York City, you got properties nearing 80, 90, $100 million. And there's actually big transactions for a lot of those properties. So with this population decline also means the exodus of extremely wealthy individuals. Check this out. Troubling new data shows 34% of downtown San Francisco office space is completely empty. And what's really frightening about this is if you check out this letter here from Redfin and from Zillow, they're all saying the same thing. Commercial real estate is in trouble, and one of the cities that's spearleading that trouble is going to be the Bay Area, especially San Francisco, with office space being more vacant than ever before. And it's growing by 2% each quarter in terms of vacancies, which is huge, now at 34%. And people say that by the end of this year, it's probably going to be 36 to 37%. We're also seeing a lot of buildings that are still being leased out, but they're super empty, like Facebook's 181 Fremont. Let me show you guys this building, initially occupied by Facebook, occupying nearly 500,000 square feet of office space. This building is still leased, fully leased, in fact, but there's no employees because Facebook moved out because they unfortunately signed their lease until like 2031, which is still like, a few years away. So Facebook's taking the massive L there. And as these leases finish up and as a lot of these leases expire, more people will be canceling their office space, and that's detrimental. Just look at Google, right? Google, I could tell you, is by far one of the biggest consumers of real estate, and they're very smart. Google is ran by very smart individuals, and they probably looked into the Bay Area's real estate and found out that it's completely trash. Google found that the Bay Area real estate is so bad that they're scrapping their idea of a massive Bay Area investment of $15 billion, which they spent years trying to develop. They talked to a lot of people in the governments, the city councils around the Bay Area. Not to mention, they already spent millions of dollars in terms of architectural design, hiring people for the project, and a lot of planning. Like, planning this for a few years probably cost them tens of millions of dollars just to prepare for a $15 billion construction project with the Australian construction company Lend-Lease. And Google is scrapping plans because they're starting to figure it out that one, a lot of people are moving online. Two, the Bay Area real estate is completely trash. You got whole entire buildings selling for 50% off. Why in the world would you build a whole new campus? If Google really needs an office space, just buy one of the ones that are foreclosed for just $30 to $40 million. Even extremely good properties are selling for very cheap prices. If you check out 201 Spear Street is another great example of a AAA high-end real estate tower. Guess what? It sold for $60 million. If a building of this size sells for $60 million, who in the world would want to build a $15 billion construction project? I don't think a lot of people will say yes to that. So Google's scrapping plans. If they need space, they'll just buy one of the nearby foreclosed buildings, which they're everywhere. And check this out, even San Jose is not escaping the massive exodus. People say San Jose is actually one of the cleaner places of the Bay Area. Well, it's probably because there's literally nobody who lives here. The place is so empty, almost 100 empty retail spaces in San Jose, and the storefronts are being more empty than ever before. Check out this map of emptiness. Downtown San Jose really isn't that big of a place, but every single street, you always get a few vacant stores. And there's only a few stores per street anyway, so you could go through like whole entire packed streets with empty retail space everywhere. A lot of the properties are zombie properties. Banks own a lot of these properties, but they're like not even lucrative. Like, they're just almost like yachts where you just throw money in and it's burning. The property taxes of San Jose is still extremely expensive, but investors are not making any money. The nail in San Francisco's coffin pretty much comes after the cancellation of Google's massive Silicon Valley campus projects, which they're thinking about making a West San Jose for a massive campus, and that would have easily stimulated the downtown. But after this construction project being completely canceled, we just saw the end of San Jose. And check this out, office vacancies, and even in nearby downtown Oakland is climbing at 36%. And Oakland is adjacent to San Francisco. They're connected by the massive San Francisco-Oakland Bridge. And not just Oakland vacancies of offices climbing at 36%, but the amount of landlords offering renters insane concessions like 2 months of free rent is climbing to nearly 50%. We're also seeing the rent dropping 7.2% in the past few months for Oakland, which is not looking so good. Even Little Oakland has dropped that much in prices and rent, and this big increases in vacancies, San Francisco is about to do even worse. Another big thing is we're seeing a lot of people just simply leaving California. Most of the population declines that you see here are mostly California cities. If you check this out, California, a few Michigans, a few Floridas, and another California. Even Los Angeles, certain neighborhoods are having a massive decrease in people. I think a lot of people start noticing after the pandemic that they could go other places where they offer even incredible rental prices, like 40% of Salt Lake City apartments are rent concessions. Incredible. A few months free rent, free parking, free gift cards. Pretty awesome stuff. Overall, I think a lot of the people who are buying real estate, who are investing in cities, are no longer investing in the traditional big cities here in the US. Obviously, some cities around the world are still very popular, like New York City, London, Hong Kong, still very popular. But here in the US, a lot of big cities like Seattle, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Diego, and especially San Francisco are no longer popular destinations for investment. People are going elsewhere. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment below and see you later.